So welcome to the Wreck My podcast, where sometimes I start a sentence and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way. With that said, you have a clue of what we are discussing this week if the intro voiceover didn't give it away and the title didn't give it away as well. We wanted to do something a little bit of fun this week and not so long. And that's what she said. And so if you don't know by now, it's The Office we're doing. And I have some new guests here that are near and dear to my heart. To my right, and for those of you listening, not video, to my right is my wife, Madison. She's the head of the party planning committee. To her right is Michelle, who is my sister, head of the committee to plan parties. And then across from me is my brother, Thomas, who is scarier than Prison Mike.
There you go.
And so, yes, this is that you with your nails? Oh, I could hear that.
Shoot.
So this is my siblings, my little brother, my little sister here with my wife, and we're doing a little fun podcast since they're in town from Arizona. And you know me, I'm your host. In fact, I'm the best host because I bought myself a world's best host mug. My name is Jordan. And yes, we're talking about The Office today, so let's dive right into the thick of it. That's what she said. So you guys are all into The Office now. We're all very big fans of The Office. So let's get into that. When did you get into it? Let's start, Thomas. How long ago was it you got into it?
Let's see. Well, it was probably around when I started college because I was really bored and had no friends.
Yeah, and it's on Netflix.
Yeah, exactly.
And Netflix is your best friend when college comes around.
So I just sat in my room all day and watched it, and then I watched it again.
How long did it take you to get through it the first time?
Probably maybe a month or two, something like that.
Yeah.
And then now I just watch it when I'm doing homework.
That's similar with you, Madison. Mm-hmm. It took about a month or two to get through the whole series.
Because when I originally heard of The Office, I was like, oh, that's stupid. It's like awkward humor, and I don't like awkward humor. So why would I watch that? And then we had literally watched Friends to death. I've been watching Friends since I was 16 years old. So I was like, I need a new
48.
sitcom. Yes. And then I gave The Office maybe the first 4 episodes. You were like, you have to get through it. And that probably took a month just to get through the first 4.
Well, the first
but then
season,
after that, it was
the
really
first
quick.
season is so cringy.
So
but then it kind of picks
yeah.
its stride up in season 2. But how about you, Michelle? I didn't even know you were into The Office.
Really?
Well, I mean, I did
have you
because
followed her on Snapchat?
I did,
Or,
yeah.
who
On
are
social
you?
media.
now, but I mean, I don't know when you got into it in the
Right.
sense that, Thomas, I knew right when he got into it because he started texting me things about it. But, I didn't know you were into it till
So
later.
I think I got you into The Office, Thomas.
Yeah, maybe in high school I watched the first 3 episodes, but I never
Sure.
actually
In high
watched it
school,
through.
I didn't watch it. Same
Yeah.
thing,
Right.
awkward humor, totally awkward.
Mm-hmm.
The first season, honestly, when I started watching it, I was like, I can't do this. This
Yeah.
is super weird.
So cringeworthy.
Oh, yeah. it's bad.
So I actually skipped ahead to season 4 the first time I watched it.
Oh, that's
and
far.
then I
That's a
worked.
lot of iconic stories you missed,
Yes.
though.
So I kind of knew the end before I knew the beginning.
Okay.
So then I went back after the fact, falling in love with all the characters, and went back and watched it. But now I've seen it all the way through 13 times.
So did you watch from season 4 all the way to the finale in
I
season
did.
9 before you even went back and watched the beginning
Before I
ones?
even
Wow.
went back, yeah.
Talk about...
Did they make any references that you were like, oh, I don't get it?
Yes.
Or was it pretty... Okay. It was
all the
Yeah.
time. There was a lot of things I didn't understand doing it that way, but I feel like I was so invested at that point in the person I was watching with.
Right.
I wanted to just continue it with them. And
Yeah.
then I was like, oh, I'll go back. And
Sure.
now I just watch it every night.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty much what everyone does. But
Yeah,
I
I
feel
know.
like Friends, The Office,
How I Met Your
How I Met Your
Mother.
Mother. Some people Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
These shows are the ones that people just, it's what you put on in the background
Die Hard.
and you sleep to it and everything. I'm the same way. Maybe people don't watch this in high school because I didn't start it till college. My freshman year, I was the same way. I think the first 4 seasons were out by then. And so I was going, it just in between classes, you had to find something to do because if you didn't have homework or anything, you had an hour to kill. And it's okay, what do I do? So I brought my computer and I started watching The Office, and then I thought it was really funny, and I caught up to the point, I think in season 7, I caught up to the point where it was on TV, so I had to start actually watching it live for 3 seasons, which is kind of annoying when you're used to just going,
Binging.
especially sitcoms, they're very you just want to go through it, and you can
Right.
go through them quick. But yeah, it was good. Sometimes it's fun because you get to the finales of things, and then it's a little bit more impactful, I guess, when you have to wait and everything to watch it. So yeah, let's go around. Who's your favorite character in the show, Madison?
Are you gonna start with me?
Yeah. Well, we can start with Thomas.
Oh no, it's okay. We can change it up. I feel like I have to pick Pam. I mean, she's the girl, and she's like the main front and center. And I think that her like character arc is really cool. Not to be like too like, oh my gosh, I'm so pretentious. But like just seeing like going back, like because we watched it all the way through, and I was kind of like whatever about her. Like I kind of like Jim more than her. But then going back and watching her at the very beginning, and you see like how disgusted and like unhappy she was, and then seeing like everything she like becomes and grows into herself, like she's my favorite one.
Okay, that's a good one. How
Like
about you,
her
Michelle?
character like evolved so much.
Yes.
Like on beach day, everything changed. Like that was iconic.
Yeah.
As much as I love Pam and Jim, I honestly would say my favorite character is Angela, which is weird because
that's
she's
funny.
kind of a but like
Well, you know what? It's cool. Is Jenna Fisher and Angela
best
Kingsley or whatever are
friends.
best friends in real life? So
that's not
live in
surprising.
Pasadena too.
yeah, and so I think that Jenna Fisher is actually Angela's kid's godmother.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's a
they
fun
hang
fact.
out all the time. They
Yeah.
go to Target.
Was
Yeah.
she your favorite since the beginning, or did you kind of like grow to love her?
I think because of where I started, I liked her.
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually really love Dwight and Jim more than I love Pam and what did I just say?
Like
I
their
love
relationship?
Dwight
Dwight
and
and Angela,
Angela.
better than
okay.
Jim and Pam.
Yeah.
Yes, I know
I
what I'm
like
talking.
Dwight and Jim's relationship though.
I
Dwight
I
and
know.
Jim's relationship's
I know. I
funny.
wasn't even gonna question her. I was like, I get
Yeah,
it.
I get it. I
Well,
love that.
speaking to that, Dwight and Jim, John Krasinski, who plays Jim, and Rainn Wilson, who plays Dwight, a lot of their iconic lines were given to them from each other. Like they were such best
Yeah.
buddies.
Right.
They'd be like, Jim would be like, "Oh, you know what Dwight would totally say? Like he would say this," and then Rainn Wilson would use that for
Right,
Dwight and
yeah.
everything, and vice versa. Like it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But how about you, Thomas? Who's your favorite?
I think I'm gonna say Kevin.
Kevin's so
Kevin's
good.
great.
He always like
So
whenever
funny.
whenever he like says something, like when he ever says a joke, like he doesn't say a joke that often, but like when
Yeah.
he does, it always makes me laugh.
Oh,
His
he
is
is
more
funny.
like timing than like outright jokes.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
way
yeah.
he delivers things.
Yeah, he is really funny, and it's funny when you go back and watch the earlier seasons, and he's just kind of like dopey
Yeah.
and weird. But then
And
as
then
it
he
goes
starts
on,
getting
he
a
actually is
voice.
kind of witty
Yeah,
with what
yeah.
he's saying too,
Right.
or he just gets really weird sometimes. Like I remember there was the part where he's like, they find out that Pam's pregnant, and he's like, "I thought that your breasts looked bigger,
Yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah.
I thought she had a padded bra." But then I was like, Pam doesn't need a padded bra, and like. That should be creepy, but it's not that
Yeah.
creepy. You're like, oh, it's just Kevin.
It's just Kevin. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
who he is.
Another fun fact behind the scenes is that I'm blanking on the guy's Brian Baumgartner, I think is who plays Kevin. Him and John Krasinski, pretty much every time they had a break on set, they would go play Madden NFL in their
really?
trailer, and they were for 6 seasons were part of a fantasy football league for the show. Like they had it for 6 seasons of it, so they were really into sports together and kind of
Oh, that's
connected there.
cool.
So like. There's funny like behind the scenes things of like Kevin and Jim just hanging out all the
Yeah.
time and stuff like that. So that's really cool.
So who's your favorite character?
My favorite character, so I really like Dwight, but I think my favorite character would be Michael Scott, only because his cringeworthiness is it's so good. And I also love the fact that they develop his character enough that like from the beginning you think he's just this jerk guy, but you're like, no, he's just misunderstood. Like everything he wants to do is for the joke. Like that scene where when Jan goes in to sue the company and he goes in, and I forget what the episode's called, the disposition or something like that. And then he makes the that's what she said joke.
Yes.
And then they're like, who said that? And then like
They
he's
have to
like,
go back.
they have to go back, and they're
and
reading the whole thing, and they're like, Michael, I need to use the restroom. You just use the restroom. I just did that to get out of the
Yeah.
building.
Like-
I actually have to go now. You can't go now, but I really need to go now. Like,
Can I add something too? I would say Michael is my second one, only because the episode, I think it's in like the first season when
Yeah.
he's not even with Jan yet, and they go to the dinner with the guy they're
Yes.
trying to win over the school district with, and you think he's like totally
The
just like
Chili's.
bombing
Yeah.
the sales,
Yeah.
and at the end he brings
He-
it all together, and you're like, oh my
he
gosh,
makes the
because
sale.
we
It's
tried to
genius.
watch The British Office, which I
Oh
know
my.
that's probably like super like unpopular opinion, but we couldn't get through it.
Yeah, I watched it.
Did you like
Yeah.
it?
No.
Yeah, it was hard, but
well,
it
I
made
liked
it
it because
seem
it was
like-
kind of like seeing like an alternate universe.
Right.
And stuff.
where you didn't
But
understand
there
a word
didn't
they
seem
said.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
any
Watch it with
redeeming
subtitles.
characters of the Michael character,
Yeah.
or at least in this one. Maybe I just didn't get far enough, but I
Well,
feel
no,
like
I
this
think in
one-
the UK office that Ricky Gervais's character is supposed to be like a scumbag. Like
Yeah.
there aren't supposed to be redeeming qualities about him, and I think that. And I mean, granted, they only had like one season, so they didn't get to develop because in the first season, Michael Scott's that way too.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
not till like season 3 where they kind of give him like that
flesh 'em
adorable
out.
quality
Yeah.
where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, you're just misunderstood.
Well, I think it was like Steve Carell said he didn't want to like copy the character. 'Cause
Right.
They wanted it to be,
He
like, his
never
own
watched
thing.
the UK Office
Yeah,
till
yeah,
after
'cause
he was
didn't
done
wanna-
filming
yeah.
the whole thing because
Yeah,
he
he
didn't
said
want
he didn't
to.
want to copy anything.
Right.
Another funny thing is that John Krasinski, when he went in to read, he was supposed to read for Dwight,
Yep.
and he convinced
Yeah.
them to let him read for Jim. And when he left the reading, there was a guy eating it. Do you guys know the story?
It's
The guy
before
eating.
he even went in.
No, it was afterwards. He was leaving, or maybe it was before.
No, it's before he even went in because
So-
then he was super nervous during his
Yeah,
audition.
because like the dude was like eating. There was like a dude eating a salad in the way, and he's like, "Oh, so you're nervous?" And he's like, "I'm not really nervous, but like, I'm just kind of scared that they're gonna take the UK Office, which I love, and just ruin it because American television has
Yeah.
a tendency to do that." And that guy eating was Greg Daniels, the
Oh, yeah.
executive
Well, they walked
producer.
into the room and the guy
Yeah,
was
and then he
sitting right
realized,
there,
and he's like,
realized.
"Oh no!"
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said
Like
that.
that's so funny because John Krasinski loved the UK Office, which I'm like, I don't know how you can. If
Yeah.
you're not British, I don't know how you understand that show,
Yeah.
honestly. So moving on. Have you watched the UK Office? That was my next question.
Already went over it.
Already went over it. Look at
the
that.
only one
We
that
just know.
hasn't.
We just know so well. I only watched the first 2 episodes.
too.
And after
Yeah.
that, I'm like, I literally don't know what's going on right now.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's not even worth it.
There's
to
only
me.
like there was like 2 seasons, but it was like a 6-episode season, like a 9-episode season. Or
Oh,
something.
interesting.
It was really short.
Well, it's fun. I like going back and seeing Martin Freeman.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the
Little
role.
Jim.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love that guy now.
Yeah.
He's in so much good stuff. I love Sherlock. That's a great show he's in.
Oh yeah.
Do you two know the name of Jim and Pam's second child? Because that question got
Philip.
brought up. Oh man,
Yeah,
you're
it's Philip.
good. We couldn't
We could
not
remember,
think
and
of
then I
it.
was like, "That's right," because Angela named
Yeah, they got in a
Philip.
big fight
and-
about it.
Yeah, and like I could
Philip.
not remember. I kept thinking, what was it, Pee-Pee?
Yeah,
Oh,
Pee-pee.
Dwight calls her
Pee-poo,
Pee-pee.
Pee-poo, or whatever. No, it's Pee-poo.
Yep, that's right. Dwight.
That's right. So yes, there's a million great lines in this show,
Yes.
obviously, as they're saying them. But do you have one in particular that you like? Anyone can go first on that one. There's so many though, but anyone in particular?
I think one that I always can I say 2?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
'Cause
No.
we were just talking
we
about
have
this
we have
yesterday.
firm no
It's a
on
very
this show.
rigid
Come
show.
on.
Yeah. The one that I like the most is when Michael Scott is like, I can't remember what episode it's in, but they were all talking about like superstition and stuff like that, and they go back into his office and he's like, no, I'm not superstitious, but I'm a little stitious.
Little stitches. He does that really well though, of
Yeah,
like
just
taking
like,
words and making something weird out of it
funny
that you
though.
never
Yeah.
thought of. You know.
But the one we were talking about yesterday that makes me laugh every time for some reason is when Dwight and Jim had to go help Nellie move. And Dwight is calling Pam and he's like, oh, she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, we're just hauling cubes. And Dwight walks behind and he's like, hauling cubes? That makes me laugh every time. So I don't know why.
That's so good.
I think I like when Michael says, he's like, I mean, I don't need to be liked. I don't have this impulsive need to be liked, but I just need people to like me.
People like it. Would you rather have them fear or like you? I'll go with both.
Both.
I want them to be afraid of how much they like you.
Yes.
How about you, Madison?
I don't know. You probably know better than I do. What do
Well,
I
I know
laugh
your
at the
favorite
most?
part.
What's my favorite
It's
part?
when the bat comes and Angela's like,
Oh my gosh.
it's raining poop.
Oh, yeah.
Poop. Or you also love in Delivery when he's like, you know where we're going? The hospital. You know what you're going to have?
A
baby.
Yeah, those are
Every
probably
time.
some of
My
We
favorite
waited
is definitely when Oscar does the moment where in Delivery as well, when Michael Scott's trying to pack his go bag real quick, he's like, should I bring a dictionary? And Oscar's like, the hospital provide a dictionary, but you should bring a thesaurus. And he just
And
looks
he's
at the
being
camera.
so serious.
Yeah, and I'm like, that is amazing. I love that. And I think my favorite visual gag is when Kevin's talking about bringing in the chili, and it's like his pride and joy and how
yeah.
much work he put into it. And then as he's walking in, he like stumbles and it just goes everywhere. And he's trying to like scoop it up.
Yeah.
I laugh. I think even when I'm like half asleep and I hear that episode
You
come on,
laugh.
I roll over and I watch that part and then I go back because I just love it so much.
I actually have a friend who, whenever he says something funny, just goes,
Look at the
Because just
documentary
looks at the camera.
looks at the camera.
I'm
that's not
almost
actually
positive
there.
that Family Guy made fun of that in one episode.
I'm sure they
Though.
did.
Yeah, like
It's very topical.
It's very like Jim always just looking at the camera. They're like,
Yeah,
why
yeah.
is he always just looking at the camera? They even make fun of it in the
No,
show.
Karen
Yeah,
says
Yeah,
it.
they even
Dwight
make fun of it in the
does when
show.
He, like,
Yeah.
pretends to be Jim, and
That's
he's
so
all.
funny. So let's get into some fun facts here. I'm sure most of us will know a lot, but for our listeners, they may not know some of these. So the first one, John Krasinski shot the opening credits. So him and his friends, when he got
Yep.
cast, went to Scranton, Pennsylvania, and all the stuff you're seeing shot from Scranton is actually from his phone, which is why it's a lot grainier than the rest of the show. That makes
Yes.
sense. I always wondered why, and that makes sense. So did you know Phyllis real name Phyllis Smith, not Phyllis Vance from France Refrigeration. Before she was acting on the show, she was the casting associate for the show, and they liked her so much to put her on. Do you know what she did before that, though, earlier in her life? So she was a burlesque dancer, but specifically said no stripping, just a burlesque dancer. And was also an NFL cheerleader for the St. Louis Cardinals when they were in St. Louis. So that was a while ago, which I really wanted to go and find pictures of her younger, but I couldn't really find anything.
They have
I'm
them
like,
on those 10 fun facts about The Office on
do
YouTube.
they?
Yeah.
Okay, because I couldn't find any like pictures that I was convinced were actually her kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's kind of funny. Like, I would have never assumed she was a dancer, but I guess she hurt her knee and she couldn't dance anymore or whatever. Like, she was a professional dancer.
Yeah.
Obviously, she's a cheerleader for an NFL team. Yeah. So the half of season 3, John Krasinski is actually wearing a wig because he shaved all of his hair off for a movie he did called Leatherheads, which was like a 1920s football movie. Half of season 3 is just his hair is fake because he had shaved his head for another movie role.
That's crazy.
Yeah, right. Until it finally grew in enough that then I think that's why
they did
when they did the thing where he got the haircut.
Yeah, they mentioned it like.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, nice hair and everything."
I'm gonna go back to season 3 and look for the wig.
And then he just like kept his hair that way after that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's when he had the wig, when they were like, "Oh, nice hair" or whatever.
I think so.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
When he had like the moppy hair.
No, before like when it changed from the moppy hair to the like
when
coiffed
he was
hair.
going to get the interview.
I'm pretty sure they did it there, and then like they had him do his hair that way the rest of the time. Huh. It also like it made sense because at that point he was like turning from more of like the kind of like kid just making like not really doing anything, like he was trying to go get a bigger job in New York and stuff, you know, like so it kind of was a transition in his character as well. And so the kiss and gay witch hunt between Michael and Oscar
was not planned.
So that was scripted. It was supposed to be a hug in the script, and so
everyone's
reaction is just like good. Which brings me to my next point. There's tons of like this show is great for rewatching because there's tons of times that background characters break because this whole show is based around improvisation.
Right.
So it's like once you watch it through once, it's almost fun to go back and just like not pay attention to what's going on except for what's in the background and see where people break because it's so funny when you see it. Like it's like watching Saturday Night Live when they're like literally trying to make each other break and they have to take a moment, because in the episode where Jim and Dwight are making the birthday for Kelly and it's like the "it's your birthday" sign, they had to shut down production for the day because they couldn't get through that scene. Like they had redone it so many times, they're like, you know what, we're done. We'll come back tomorrow and do it. Like, that's
have you seen
crazy.
the bloopers for that one too?
Madison has. I haven't really watched a lot of the blooper reels, but I've heard her watch like all of them and they sound hilarious. So the scene where Jim goes to meet Pam in New York at her dorm room, you know, where the camera guy like walks in, he's like, "Oh, did I show you something out here?" and then shuts the door. That was real. Like that wasn't supposed to happen. Like John Krasinski was actually made like did that to the camera guy, and the camera guy fell for it and looked this way. So the sigh he does is like legit. Like the camera guy was just like like that wasn't scripted or anything. Like John Krasinski fooled him into this moment, and it like worked really well. Let's see. B.J. Novak and John Krasinski went to the same high school.
Oh, yeah.
And Ed Helms and Brian Baumgartner, the guy who played Kevin, went to the same high school in Georgia. So that's pretty fun. Fun fact. The computers, after season 1, were all real. So, like, they would play games or do work because there was a lot of times they would come into film and, like, most characters weren't even doing anything in the scene. Working. They were just sitting there. So they would literally, like, work and read news articles and stuff and all that, which was kind of cool. At least they're not just sitting there bored, you know?
Yeah.
And then let's see. Many real Scranton companies are referenced in this show. So Froggy 101, you know, the sticker on the back of Dwight's car and everything. That's the most.
What kind of car is it?
It's I think it's a 1987 Trans Am at the beginning. Or no, at the beginning he said it was like some like Nissan or something like that. At the first episode, you know, when he's like, "Oh, I fixed it up."
Right.
But, yeah, it was like an 87 Trans
So
Am.
the car changed throughout the seasons?
No, I think
he just said what it was.
I can't remember, but like, you know, in the first episode when he was like oh, like tell the new guy what you do to your car. He's like, "Oh yeah, I bought it for $1,500. 280Z, changed the engine out, and now it's worth $3,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
So like I think he said it was like a 280Z, which is like a Nissan, and then halfway through the season something like that, he was like, it's an 87 Trans Am or something.
Okay, so
Right.
they were like, we actually need to show this car. We want something a
Yeah,
little bit
yeah,
nicer.
yeah.
Well, maybe he sold.
Which they look very similar.
Well, maybe he sold the 280Z for the
Yeah,
$3,000 and
they
then went
could've,
and
yeah,
bought the
yeah.
Trans Am, and we just
Exactly,
never
yeah.
saw that on
Mhm.
camera.
Yeah, yeah.
So Froggy 101 is an actual radio station in Scranton. It's like the most popular
Oh,
radio
okay.
station in Scranton. Crystal Club Soda, which is what everyone's always drinking, and I've never noticed it actually. I didn't know this until I looked it up, but it's a real company in Scranton that produces sodas and everything, but they specifically only had those type of sodas in the show.
Yeah.
And then Poor Richards is a real bar in a bowling alley in Scranton. And Dunder Mifflin is the name of an actual person on the Greater Scranton Chamber of Commerce.
Oh.
So it's named after a political figure from Scranton. So that's kind of fun.
Interesting.
So they
Yeah.
threw a lot of that stuff in there. My
Yeah,
dog
yeah.
is licking my knee.
You have a whole other page of fun facts.
Oh, I have. And this. So
Fun facts aren't fun after like the first
let me
five.
tell you,
They're
this
always
was
fun.
me cutting ones out because
Oh,
I
just-
saw one that had 150 fun facts.
Yeah, but that's where you like pick the ones that
I
nobody
did.
knows.
I picked about 20.
All of us knew.
We knew
like,
almost
all of
half of these.
But maybe our listeners don't. We're
Okay.
just really into The Office. That's
I
why
know.
we're doing an episode about The Office.
Arguably
because
too
we're
I
much.
just think you probably shouldn't read every single one of them.
Well, do you guys know what the documentary was called at the end that they watched?
The Office, an American Workplace.
Yeah, dang. Okay. So Steve Carell's inclusion in the finale was actually kept secret from even the NBC executives. So no one knew that Steve Carell was showing up to do that last scene where he was like, "Oh, I didn't think you'd come," and he's like, "That's what she said."
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
no one knew that. Like, even during the table reads and everything, Creed Bratton or whatever, he filled in for that. He was supposed to. He read those lines like that was him. You know, so no one knew. Paul Lieberstein is Toby. He's a very, very shy guy. And so he was also a writer on the show. So any show he wrote, you can tell that he wrote it because he either gives himself no lines or very minimal lines because he didn't want to be on camera.
Oh, I think BJ Novak said that he did that too. Like he was.
He
like,
didn't want to have the
Yeah,
lines
he was like, if I ever wrote an episode, he was like, it was weird for me to write myself in. So
Yeah.
I'd either just like be like, oh, Ryan looks at the camera here. Or
Yeah,
like
BJ
something
Novak
like
felt
that.
like he didn't want to be narcissistic, but
Yeah,
Paul
yeah.
Lieberstein or
just
Lieberstein
shy
or whatever
about
was
it.
just shy. He's like,
Yeah.
I just don't want to do it. Carol in the show is actually Steve Carell's wife, Nancy Carell.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, see, he didn't know that. That's a fun fact.
Yeah, but this is
I
like the
had fun.
13th fun fact.
I'm still
Madison's
having
getting
fun.
bored.
Did you know that the lactation consultant is Jenna Fisher's actual husband?
Nope.
Yes, so the lactation consultant
Oh my gosh,
that
that's why
touches
he
her
looks
boob
familiar.
is actually her
okay.
husband. So the
Dang.
boob touching was not awkward at all. Meredith's pelvic cast. You remember she has Jim sign it?
Yeah.
He signs
He signed his
John
real
Krasinski,
name.
Oh, yeah, I saw that on the
which
thing,
I'm
yeah.
like,
I think
it's
everybody
blatant-
knows this.
But that's blatantly obvious, but I didn't realize it until I read that, and then I saw a picture. I'm like, I never even paid attention to
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like,
I know,
because
it's
it's
just
such an
scribbles.
awkward moment too that
Yeah,
you're kind
yeah.
of like
Looking away.
Yeah, like I don't really want to look directly at it.
You don't want to see Meredith's upper thighs.
So let's see if you guys knew this. When the writers wrote the episode Gay Witch Hunt, they hadn't decided which character was going to be gay yet.
Oh.
So when they got to the table read, Oscar was wearing a pink shirt, and they're like, "All right, you're going to be gay," and that's how they chose who
That's
was going to be
hilarious.
gay
Wow.
for the episode.
Imagine if like Kevin was gay or something.
I know, right?
That would have
Like
been crazy.
it would have been weird. Like I feel like
Yeah.
he's the only one that probably it could have worked for.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean,
No, they.
I mean,
feel like
Kevin
they
would have
could've
been
made
fine.
everybody
Kevin
work.
would have been fine too. But maybe Toby. I guess that
At that point,
anyone
I
but
feel like
anyone
they
but
could've-
Dwight and Jim.
Yeah.
it would have
Yeah.
worked.
even
Yeah.
Ryan, they could have had it
Ryan
go
could
the
have
other
been.
way.
But
Yeah.
what's funny is that Ryan and Kelly's relationship in the
Yeah, I feel
show
like that was a good
mirrors
thing.
real life because they were always like
They were
on
always
again,
like
off
that.
again. Like, are we dating? Are we not dating? So I'm glad they didn't have Ryan go that way because it was just funny how like it mirrored life, and that was kind of part of the humor of
humor
it
of it.
for people who like knew the backstage stuff. So the gas station where Jim proposes to Pam,
Yep.
that was built. And
Oh, really?
that cost
Oh, I think I read that.
$250,000 to build it for that one like 10-second scene.
Shoot.
Yeah.
That was the most expensive scene in the whole series.
Was it on a movie set with the rain?
Yeah, because what happened was that they were gonna rent out a gas
Mm.
station, and then they were like, okay, it's gonna be like $100,000, but then they were gonna have to bring in the rain, and they were gonna have to pay him
Yeah.
out and everything, and they were like, oh, we'll be way cheaper to have a movie set, and then it wasn't.
And
no,
then
it
it
wasn't. Which is actually John Krasinski's first on-screen kiss was that scene.
Oh.
And he didn't tell Jenna Fisher. When she asked, he was like, "Yeah, I've done this before." But it was his first
They
on
don't
screen.
kiss up until then?
No, you don't see them kiss up till that point.
That's not
Like,
true.
is he talking
They
about
kiss-
a real kiss? Maybe he's talking about like a real.
Yeah, they
kiss.
kiss when it's casino night and he professes
okay,
his love
so
for her.
maybe
Yeah.
they meant
Oh, I
Jenna
guess that's true.
Fisher was his first on-screen kiss.
Yeah,
maybe
not
that's
then,
what
'cause they
I
definitely
Oh,
kissed
okay.
before then.
No, they filmed that scene way ahead of time.
Nope.
And then they went back,
Maybe.
and that's how he looked so much
I'll
younger.
admit that I'm wrong. I'll admit that. But no, it did say Jenna Fisher and their first kiss. Yes. Anyway, so everyone from Stanford was supposed to be written off the show, but Ed Helms was like so good that they kept him on, which I'm glad they did. And I feel like Ed Helms really hadn't done much before that. Had he done The Hangover by that time? I think he did The
It
Hangover
wasn't until
after.
2010.
Yeah, so I think that up to that point, he really wasn't known for anything. So they were like, yeah, this guy, and he's really funny.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I think this really did help his career because they're like, he's funny enough, we'll keep him on. So other people were kind of looking at him and everything, which definitely helped.
Gotta put that in there.
And then the last one was Creed was actually in a band called The Grassroots back when he was younger.
Yes.
And in Benihana Christmas, that karaoke song he's singing is their hit song that they made, which is fun. So I'm done with the fun facts. You made it through, Madison.
Yay!
It's kind of like
30
life.
years
blast.
later.
It's kind of like life with me.
I
You're
was
just
literally
sitting around
looking
bored.
over at the paper and I'm like, wow, there's like half a page of fun facts. And then he flipped it to the second page and I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
You know what? I want to bring our listeners the hard-hitting facts. The facts that are not just hard-hitting, but fun. Fun facts, if you will.
Yeah.
I should
Hey,
have said that's
people,
what she said.
people, hard-hitting facts. That's what she said. People listen more for my soothing voice more than anything.
That's true.
You know.
Yep.
Sure.
I thank
Put
you
you
for
to
tuning
sleep.
in, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad you could make it here with us tonight, or if it's the morning, this morning as well.
Kind of creepy.
Yeah, I don't know. It turned really weird. All right, so now we're gonna play a little game, you guys,
All
and
right.
you guys can play along at home. I'm gonna look at camera. Jim Halbert, look at camera. We're gonna play along. It's called. I wrote quote quiz.
Quote quiz.
I was supposed to go back and come up with a witty name for it, and I forgot today. So
like
we're
quote
playing
quiz.
quote quiz. So I'm gonna give you guys a quote, and then you're gonna have to tell me who the character
should've
is
been
that
called-
said it. That's what they said.
That's what they said.
Oh,
my
man!
gosh.
Good job.
Good job, Michelle.
All right.
How do
Do
you
that
want to
next
do
time.
it? Do you want to do it like somebody has to guess and if they can't get it, it
Yes.
moves on to the
So
next
we'll
person?
go
Can we get a
around.
buzzer?
No, because that's a little too involved.
Yeah. You don't want the
This
sound.
isn't Family
We'll just
Feud.
start with
Come on.
Thomas, and if he can't get it, it'll
Yeah,
go to
then we'll
Michelle.
move it on,
then
and when
we'll
one
move
gets it, it just moves to the next
Yeah.
person,
Okay.
and then
then
we'll
we
keep
going in a
around.
circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we'll start with Thomas. This one's kind of an easier one.
All right.
Beats, Bears, Battlestar Galactica.
Dwight.
Eh.
Really?
Beats, Bears, Battlestar Galactica.
Jim Halpert.
It's Jim Halpert
I feel
pretending
like
to be Dwight.
I feel like Dwight has said that before.
But it's
though.
Jim pretending
That's
to
true,
be
that's true,
Dwight.
that's true.
You
Because
have to
brain
read
went
Jordan's
straight-
mind about
He
the
never-
situation.
he has never said all three of those
Oh, yeah, he
together.
probably
one
hasn't.
quote.
Yeah, yeah.
In one quote.
My
Good job,
brain
Michelle.
directly went to Dwight though when you said beats.
Right.
And then I didn't even think
Because
about
it's,
it.
I hope-
because
I stopped
identity
listening.
theft is a
Identity
real
theft,
thing.
Yeah.
I hope that I would have gotten that because I had that framed in my room for so long.
But it has Dwight's
Sure.
face on it. That's what's misleading.
It does. It does
Yeah,
have
yeah.
Dwight's
So that's
face
probably
on
where you
it.
got the
I'm off to a bad
association
start.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Hot
All right,
Topic,
Madison.
for having that
Yeah,
shirt.
right. All right,
It wasn't
Madison.
a
You
shirt,
ready?
It was a poster.
Oh,
Well-
well, we got a shirt that said too.
It's okay.
Well, happy birthday, Jesus. Sorry your party's so lame. You gotta wait.
Darn it.
Is it Angela?
Nope.
Oh dang! I was.
Can
gonna
you
say
go
Angela's here.
when someone gets
Every
her
time.
Can you use it in a sentence?
Well, happy birthday, Jesus. Sorry your party's so
You don't
lame.
know?
I think it might be Michael.
Yep.
It's Michael
Okay.
Scott.
Oh,
yeah.
good job.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
you were gonna guess Angela too,
Yeah, I was
right?
gonna
Yeah.
guess Angela
So see
originally.
that you're helping each other out
Yeah.
here. All right. So next one.
Remember when he wasn't? Never mind.
Was that in the episode where he came as Santa and then Phyllis came as Santa and he came, or maybe it was different?
It was a different one, but it was a Christmas
It was
episode.
Yeah, yeah.
earlier in the. It was definitely
yeah.
one of the first Christmas
Uh-huh.
episodes. All right. Sorry, I annoyed you with my friendship.
Dwight?
Nope.
Ed Helms' character.
Andy.
Andy.
Andrew Bernard. Yep,
Yes.
it is Andy. All right, Thomas.
Okay.
You got this one?
Okay.
I love this quote. I feel God is in this Chili's tonight.
Oh, it was Pam.
Yeah.
When she got super drunk.
Got
And
super drunk.
I just feel God in this
Yeah, when
Chili's
she was giving the
tonight.
speech
And Jim's
about
just
the
like,
Dundee.
okay.
That was Pam and Jim's first kiss.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. That's
Mm-hmm.
the first time they
Uh-huh.
kissed, but that was more like a peck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
She was
All right,
drunk.
Michelle.
'Kay.
You ready? Yeah, if you're drunk, it doesn't count, right? That's how rules work.
Um,
So here we go.
Yikes.
The trick is to undercook the onions.
Why am I getting hard ones? The trick is to understand.
It's only hard if like it's not one
When
of your
it's out of
favorite things.
context.
Yeah, when it's out of
I
context.
feel
Can
like
you do
I
the
need to
voice?
know
Like
what
that's the thing. I don't want to do the voice because if I do the voice,
Yeah,
it
you
gives
can't
it
do
away
the
because the
voice.
voices are so like specific.
Kevin.
It is Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
The
just
chili.
The chili.
The
I was
chili.
talking about that episode. I
Good
really
job,
like that
Michelle.
episode.
She's the only one 2 for 2.
2 for 2. 2 for.
Oh, are we keeping track? Are you keeping
No.
track?
I'm not
just-
keeping
I have
track.
it
We're
in
just
my
having
head.
fun.
Yeah.
But viewers at home, if you're keeping track, send me your scorecard, and if you get 100% right, I will give you the opportunity to pay me money on my Patreon. Okay.
you
So
go.
Madison, you ready?
Yes.
Who is Justice Beaver?
Justice Beaver.
A crime-fighting beaver.
I don't know who Justice Beaver is.
Who's this Justice Beaver?
Thomas?
Wait, what was the line again? 'Cause I said something.
Who is Justice
Oh,
Beaver?
Dwight said that.
Yes,
and then
Dwight
Jim
did say that.
and then Jim looks at the camera and he goes, "It's a crime-fighting beaver."
Yeah, exactly. He means
I don't even remember
because he means
that.
Justin Bieber, but Justice Beaver.
I
All right,
didn't get it.
Michelle. I like Pretzel Day.
Stanley.
That is
Yes.
Stanley. Stanley the Manly.
I knew that one.
All
Dang
right.
it.
All right, Babo. You ready?
Babo.
I hooked up with her on February 13th.
Ryan.
Well,
Yeah.
you did. You did. He's like,
I would have known
had-
that one regardless.
I had to because it's like part
So
of the
funny.
thing.
Yeah.
Like he
Yeah.
freaked out about it. All right, Thomas, you
Okay.
ready?
I'm ready.
This one's actually a little bit harder, I think.
Okay.
You usually dress like a Ghostbuster.
Usually dressed like a Ghostbuster. Oh man.
I don't even know
I
that.
don't know. Yeah.
None of you guys know? I can give you a little
Wait.
bit more of a hint if it takes some time to like, and no one knows it or has a guess.
I feel like I would assume Michael would say that.
Nope.
Do I?
Nope.
I'm trying to think about like who it was about saying you usually
That's what I was
dress
thinking,
like a
too.
Ghostbuster.
I assume it's directed to
I could give you the whole thing.
Okay.
He says something along the lines of, he says, I told you to dress more formal than normal. You usually dress like
I
a
know who it
Ghostbuster.
is.
Oh yeah, I know who it is. Yeah.
Who
Do
is
you want
it?
to go?
No, it's your turn.
It's your
Oh,
turn.
it's my turn.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It was Daryl.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
Daryl to Val.
Yeah, to Val.
Because she
Oh,
dresses in
good
like the
one.
nightgown. He's like,
Yeah,
I
that's
meant
a good
more
one.
formal than normal.
I would have never got that without
Yeah.
that.
No,
hint.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
That's why that one's a little bit harder one. All right, you ready for this one, Michelle? This
Yeah.
is actually maybe my favorite line.
Okay.
Smile if you love men's prostrate.
Oh yes.
Dwight.
That's not the white.
I don't even remember that.
You don't know?
Michelle is so
Smile if you love men's prostate.
Wait, who said that?
Is it Jim?
It's not Jim.
It's Toby
It's Toby.
when they grow out their
Movember.
mustaches.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
And it's
Dude.
like a mom and her little kid walking by on the street and
Yeah.
he like goes over and he's
I
like,
totally-
"Smile if you like men's prostate."
Oh, that's
Totally
weird.
Yeah, because he thought like solidarity.
yeah.
Because
No
weren't
one-
they growing it out?
Yeah, for
that?
Movember.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and no one knows what it's actually for. All right.
That's funny.
All right, you guys ready for this one? This is okay. Hang on, you answer, so it's your turn, Michelle.
Yeah,
This
it's
one's actually a
Michelle's
little
turn.
bit hard.
Okay.
Just put it in your pocket.
Well, yeah, that's a hard one.
That's
Yeah,
a really
that
hard
that
one.
could be literally
but it's an
about
iconic.
anything.
It's not an iconic moment, but it's a really funny interaction.
Just put it
Can
in
you
your
say
pocket.
what happened before that?
Not really, because if I tell you what it's referring to, it'll give it away.
Put it in your pocket.
No one has
I'm
any
I'm gonna
clue.
guess
I don't-
Michael Scott.
No.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
No. Okay, so if I told you it was a cell phone that hangs on the outside of your belt,
Oh, Kelly
okay.
says it.
it's
Yeah.
Kelly.
Kelly
yeah,
says it
Kelly.
because she's
To
like,
Dwight.
he's like, why don't you like Indian dudes? And then she's like, she puts it on the outside.
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
her
they
pocket.
always have.
And he's
they
like, but it's always
have
functional. 911, boom. She goes, just put it in your pocket.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, here we go. This one's pretty good, Thomas.
Okay.
I worked for a paper company for all these years, but I never wrote anything down.
Oh, I know it was in the finale. I think it was Phyllis, right?
Yep, it was
Yeah,
Phyllis.
yeah.
Oh,
Dang.
that's a good one.
good
Good job,
man.
Thomas.
Thomas.
I can see the
All right,
episode
Michelle.
in my brain.
You ready? What decade would you have chosen to be a teenager?
I know.
They
this.
You
obviously
guys
know.
know this?
Yeah.
Me and Mouse go,
Past Madison.
It's Erin.
Erin.
When she's in the car ride with Michael, and
Yeah.
she's like,
Yeah.
what was your
When they're going
favorite
to
month
lunch.
and age? Like when I
Yeah.
was 7, I liked April.
he goes,
Do you remember
what was my favorite month?
month and age? Do you remember what her answer was? Like what year she would want to be a teenager in?
Didn't she?
1940s.
She said 1490s because America was discovered.
That's what I was like.
It's so weird.
My favorite part of that whole scene is when she like finds out and she puts all the hair in her face. He's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "When I was younger, my hair was my room."
Yeah.
She's like going like,
I love it too because he's like, people are looking and he goes, I'll have what she's having. Like, 'cause even in an awkward moment,
love that.
Michael Scott has to make a joke.
Yeah.
So funny.
And it's funny too because Michael Scott's jokes are never his jokes.
Yeah.
Like even the thing where he goes, "Dwight, you ignorant slut," that's a ripoff of Dan Aykroyd from SNL. Like almost everything he does is a
Really?
ripoff from another
Well, he's like taking
comedian.
inspiration from it. I wouldn't say it's a
Yeah.
ripoff.
Well, no. I mean,
Yeah.
he does it on purpose because his
Right.
character is
Right.
supposed to be such a bad comedian that all he can do is do other
Yeah.
Exact
people's
comedians,
routines.
yeah.
But it's crazy that he remembers all those to improvise all those
Yeah,
lines.
that's
and
like
everything.
Thomas's favorite line.
What?
You
Dwight,
say
you
that all
ignorant
the
slut.
time.
Yeah, I do say that a lot.
All right. So who are we at now? We're at
I think
Thomas
it's
again.
Thomas. Yeah, because I just
All
said
right.
Aaron.
Funny how the houses are always colonial and the penises are always circumcised.
Robert California.
True. You get bonus
Oh, that
points.
sounds like Robert.
You get bonus
That
points if you
does.
can tell me Robert California's real name.
Bob, but I don't know Bob.
What was his
Nevada.
last name?
No, I can't remember his last name, but I remember when David Wallace comes in and he's like, "Hi,
Big
Bob." Something. I don't remember.
Close. Bob Kazamaka.
Kazamak,
And everyone was like-
Kazamakis or something like that.
Kazamakis. Or
Yeah,
something
something like that, yeah.
Bob Kazamakis. Yeah, something like that.
And then everyone's like,
Yeah. All right, Michelle, you ready?
Yep.
I think we only got 2 more. So you and then Madison. Why is this so hard? That's what she said. Oh my God. What am I saying?
Oh, I know that one.
I feel so mad that I don't know these, but I feel like they're really vague.
It's
Pam?
because when
It's
you
not
can see
Pam.
the scene,
Yeah.
it's Jan.
Yeah.
I
It's
can
Jan.
see the scene because
Mhm.
it's right
Jan.
after they sign the love contract.
yeah.
All right. All right. So very last one, guys.
Thomas.
Thomas, you ready for this?
Okay, I'll try not to end on a bad one.
Yeah. Have you gotten almost?
You're like, screw
you got
this.
everyone
I suck
right.
at this
I think I missed.
game.
I think I missed one.
Missed one.
and I only
Yeah.
got one because Madison got it wrong.
Okay.
Went
Yeah.
to my second option.
All right.
So it's really because of me.
Here we go. I've always been good at anything that required balance. My doctor says I have gigantic inner ears.
Oh man, Clark.
It is Clark.
I forgot his name for a
Good
second.
Yeah,
job.
it's Clark.
You didn't have one Gabe quote in that whole entire thing.
I know.
I knew that one because I could see the scene. Like
I
you
was
said.
gonna-
Great. When you see it, it makes
Yeah.
I was
sense.
going through the characters in my head, and then afterwards I was like, oh, I missed Gabe. But I was like,
No, that's okay.
it's
You
all
missed
right.
Plop.
He's actually
too.
probably one of my
Plop.
favorites.
I
though.
almost put Plop in, but Pete didn't have any good quotes.
He really did.
Yeah, he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only good quote was his name, Plop.
Yeah.
That gives it away.
Yeah, Pete wasn't really, he wasn't really
Pete
like
wasn't
had
good.
any funny
Yeah.
stuff. in it.
So I'll tell you this: I did not like this when they switched Andy when he came back from that trip, and he was just like a
Yeah,
jerk.
no.
Yeah.
I didn't like that character switch because it was so abrupt and
It
weird.
didn't really make sense.
Like because from the beginning, that's what his character was supposed to be, this anger management. But then when he came back from anger management, they spent
was,
like
like,
4
a pushover
seasons
kinda.
of him being a nice guy. He was
Right.
kind of pushoverish. Then I'm like, why did we revert back to all his character development, especially once he finally got the girl he wanted to get? Like,
Yeah.
what's the
Yeah.
point of this
Yeah.
change except to write him out of it, kind of?
That's true.
right.
You know, so I just felt like that was forced. But that was also like near the end, and they were probably like running out of ideas, and they're like, well, we need to get to this, so we just need to funnel
Right.
everything
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
you know?
Makes sense.
Yeah. So that's that. I think that's it.
You don't have another 13 fun facts?
No,
or stuff,
no, but you know what I do have is plugs.
Oh yeah.
So I could plug it up unless you guys want to say anything more that you liked about The Office.
Plugs.
Yeah,
Plugs.
like your social medias that
You've
you
never
wanna
heard the word
promote.
plugs?
Oh.
It's like when you're plugging something, it's like you're telling
Promoting.
people.
When
you're
he said
promoting.
I have plugs, I'm like, that's what she said.
You're like, oh, what are you talking about?
What are we talking about right now, Jordan?
I like it. No, so these are
Promotional
plugs.
plugs.
You can find us on Instagram and Twitter at Rick My Podcast to keep up with everything we are doing. We're on the Apple Podcast app, Google Play, Spotify, and on YouTube and all major podcasting apps. If you like this show, please leave a rating or review for Apple Podcast or on YouTube so that it helps us get higher up in the rankings. We also, I almost,
doing good.
I was doing good, and then I always mess it up. We also have a Patreon, so go patronize us. There's a bunch of reward tiers you can pick from, like getting your name in the show notes, getting a shout out online, even asking us a question that we have to answer, as well as some exclusive Patreon material that only you get to see for donating. Any little bit will help us get through some new equipment and everything, and any money you donate to us will get put back into the show. We have news episodes coming out every Wednesday, and every Monday we have episodes of Stoked on This, where we talk about what we're really excited about for that week in pop culture or just in general. Thank you guys for being here. My wife kind of had to be because she lives here, but thank you guys for coming from Arizona. And then finally, thank you listeners for listening, because without you, we'd be just a sad group of people talking to no one
Into our microphones.
into microphones. All right, bye.